Paredes is not able to join us today. And so he usually does the second meeting of the month. Very brief introduction for me. That said, we are continuing on with our summer engagement sessions. So far, we have had sessions together with Housing Colorado and CHAFA and OEDIT, and then also Division of Local Government has been participating as well to talk about Proposition 123. And those engagement sessions so far have been in Pueblo, Grand Junction, and Durango. And so the interest and the participation has been tremendous. It's been very exciting to see. And we continue on. We have 2 more this week. And demand was so popular in Denver, we are actually going to do a virtual session now as well. Thank you, Candace. I see that. And so we are continuing with those summer engagement sessions, and we're continuing to work with local governments in order for folks to commit to increasing their affordable housing stock in their communities. And so at this point, we have, I think it's over 20 local jurisdictions that have submitted for approval of their commitments. And we are continuing to review those and to approve those as we receive eligible commitments. So a lot going on. Would encourage folks that weren't able to make an in-person meeting to participate in the virtual one that will now be on August 21st. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Allison, this is Monique. I had a question. I was asked by a lady that was there here in Junction. Where do we look to see if your county has been approved or not?
Very good question. So our website that we're using is Engage DOLA Prop 123. And so I will actually put that in the chat for everyone to be able to follow. And then we have, oh, thank you, Andrew. Andrew actually added that. So that is the link in order to follow all of the different communities that have committed thus far.
And Allison, is that where we can go as well to get information on the virtual meeting on the 21st?
That will be coming out shortly. We just confirmed the time with Housing Colorado this morning, I think it was. So there will be announcements about the virtual option in the coming days.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Absolutely. Okay, if there aren't any other questions, we greatly appreciate all that you are doing, and another exciting day with more transformational housing grant options. And I do want to introduce Nellie Stagg. Nellie is new with the Division of Housing, and she is managing our ARPA program with our Office of Homeless Initiatives. And in her work, she quickly noticed that we had a couple of numbers that were mixed. And so she provided a memo, and we'll be introducing that. Welcome, Nellie.
Hi, Allison. Thank you all. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Nellie Stagg. I am the Transformational Homelessness Response Manager here at the Division of Housing. So the memo in your board packet is hopefully a pretty quick recommendation. We recognize that since the May 9th State Housing Board meeting and prior to sending out an award letter, there was an error in one of our applications that we put forward to you all. So we had initially submitted a recommendation to the board for $240,000 in funding to La Puente Home. And the review committee actually intended for that number to be $420,000. So we want to ensure that that organization receives that full amount of the intended award. So are requesting that the board today consider and vote on increasing that grant amount to $420,000. So hopefully pretty simple, but I am happy to take any questions that board members may have.
Nellie, do you mind repeating what the amount was before?
Absolutely. So initially, the board voted to approve $240,000, and we're asking that the board today consider voting for $420,000 instead.
And that full 420 are all of those funds available?
Yep, those funds are currently available within the Transformational Homelessness Response NOFO.
Thank you. Any questions from the board? Can I ask for a motion of approval?
So moved, Candace Payne.
Second, Ladon Sterling.
Thank you, Ladon. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Great. Thank you, Nellie.
Thank you all. Appreciate it. Take care.
Next up, we will start our project application review stage. And the first deal that we have up is SP Crossing, and presenting will be Natalie Woke.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I'm pleased to introduce Kathleen Bowl and Eric Nesbitt.
Kathleen, are you there?
Yes, Natalie, did you want to provide a staff overview, or should we go right into our discussion?
You can go right ahead.
Okay, great. I'm Kathleen Bowl. I am a vice president with Brenshore Development. We are the co-developer and owner, along with Eric Nesbitt. So I'll let Eric introduce himself.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Eric Nesbitt. I am the president and founder of Nesbitt Development, and I'm the co-developer. My company's a co-developer of SP.
Yeah, and we appreciate DOH and the State Housing Board's commitment to this project. We've been working with Natalie and the team for a little while now, and have had, unfortunately, some construction cost increases on this project. They are outlined in pretty great detail in the packet for today. And we didn't put together slides because I know you guys are busy, and that was I think Natalie's recommendation to keep it more simple. But we came before you guys initially in October of 2022 and did I think a more full project overview at that time. Since then, our construction costs have increased largely due to a change in the GC that we are working with. The previous GC we had been working with was a bit below market, unfortunately, and so those costs jumped to about $20 million, and so that's why we are looking for this supplemental funding. We have increased our deferred developer fee from about 24% to about 42% to help cover that gap. We have also been able to increase a couple other funding sources, including our OEDIT award. We have heard from Adams County that they are recommending the supplemental funding request that we simultaneously submitted to them. So this really should be the last piece to get the gap covered, and we really appreciate again staff and the State Housing Board's commitment to delivering quality affordable housing in this location in Commerce City.
Thank you, Kathleen. Are there any questions from the board? Hearing no questions, we'll go ahead and move on to the next. Thanks, Kathleen and Eric.
Thank you.
Jane's Place. Presenting will be Andrew Atley.
Thanks, Anthea. So to present Jane's Place for the Chapey Housing Authority, we've got Ashley Capel and Joseph Teipel. Take it away, guys.
Thanks, Andrew, and thank you, State Board. I'm Ashley Capel, the Executive Director of the Chapey Housing Authority, and I am here with Joseph Teipel, who is on our Board of Directors. And and was intimately involved with the genesis of Jane's Place, which is in Salida, Colorado. Jane's Place is an amazing project worthy of the funding for this grant for 3 key reasons. First, it is truly unique. Jane's Place embodies the term grassroots. With the initial ideas from the project taking root in late 2019, hundreds of community members have been directly involved in the program design, initial funding, and ultimate physical design of the project. Jane's Place arose out of a recognition from a community need in Salida to fill gaps that weren't being met by traditional affordable housing projects in the area. Based on community feedback, we developed the project that will provide transitional housing for workforce and families. It will also provide winter shelter for the unhoused and a master lease to Chafee Hospitality, who currently runs those shelters in church basements. Additionally, we will be able to serve seasonal employees such as Forest Service or service industry workforce who might otherwise be camping or staying in their trailers in the summer months. Jane's Place will provide an affordable option for these 2 special populations. Furthermore, the project will be home to a social enterprise coffee shop operated by Achieve, who provides employment for neurodivergent workers, as well as a nonprofit development center leased to the Chafee County Community Foundation. Second, funding and community support for Jane's Place have been widespread. We feel very fortunate to have received huge support for the project from the community, as evidenced by over $2.3 million in funding for the project that has been obtained through grants and community donations, including almost $500,000 from community members raised through the local community foundation. We have also received a $1.3 million grant from OEDIT from the Impact Development Fund. And additionally, the project is de-risked thanks to a letter of intent secured by the city of Salida, committing to cover any remaining gaps in the project up to $240,000. Finally, the project is truly shovel ready. We've completed site work, entitlements, building permits, and are ready to go vertical if we're selected to be awarded this grant from the State Housing Board. Thank you for your consideration. Please let us know if you have any questions.
Thank you, Ashley. Any questions from the board? I have a comment. It's really nice to see all of these foundations, these family foundations stepping up for the project. It's a good indicator of the high mission and just complicates the stack a little bit, which makes it more fun, right? Okay. Well, thank you, Ashley.
Thank you.
Next up is the Granby Community Housing tag request, and Pamela Gibson will be presenting.
Yes, thank you. I'd like to introduce Nicole Schaefer with the Town of Granby and Lauren Avioli with the NHP Foundation.
Thank you, Pamela, and thank you to the Division of Housing and the DOLA support. We cannot tell you how grateful we are for this opportunity to share with you about the Granby Community Housing Project. Some background on Granby. We suffered through the East Troublesome Fire, and I know those in the Front Range have felt the impact of fires on their community. But for a town of 2,000 people to lose 384 homes was a significant hurdle. On top of that, we were also directly impacted by COVID. We had folks that lovingly and were welcomed into our community because they could work from home and they had a lot more flexibility. Living in a mountain community was very attractive during COVID. The consequence of that was that the available inventory was significantly impacted. Furthermore, because of this influx of investment from the Front Range and the demand on short-term rentals, any home that we had available was suddenly being purchased by second homeowners or investors that made the crisis for our essential workers very, very clear. Right now, we know that we have a need based on the most recent housing assessment that was completed in November of 2022 for 730 homes of which 530 serve essential workers, the workers that teach our kids and care for our families. And we believe very strongly that the Granby Community Housing Project will deliver that need. What we will review with you is the financial background, and then Jared Francis will give you kind of the overview of what the project will look like. But generally, your money is providing the horizontal infrastructure for 258 additional homes, of which 120 will be for rent, and an additional 238 will be for sale. We will serve a variety of different AMI levels, but the purpose will be exclusively on primary homeowners, exclusively on essential workers that work for Grand County-based employees, and essentially and exclusively for those who are suffering from the lack of inventory and the high sales price and the rental prices in our community. Lauren, would you like to overview the financials?
Sure. Can everybody hear me okay? Okay, great. Well, thank you, board, for your time this afternoon. Thank you, Nicole, for the overview of the project, and Pam for all the work that you've done underwriting this application. As Nicole said, in addition to the TAG funding, for horizontal infrastructure, we're looking at funding sources that include the town of Granby participating in a big way, providing the land, a match, and some owner equity. In addition, we work with a social impact equity fund, of which NHP Foundation is a fund manager, though we are also a nonprofit affordable housing developer and are serving as master developer on this project. And so those are the funding sources for the infrastructure phase. And then for the larger build out, we will be utilizing that social impact equity for the rental units as well as a permanent loan. And for the for sale units, home sales, as well as USDA rural development funds are slated to be the funding sources there. The information that you see in your board packet related to the operating pro forma and the focuses on the rental units. And then you can see the full unit mix in that breakdown of units as well. And if Jared is on and wants to briefly state the timeline, or if the board has questions about that and you'd rather us save discussion of timeline for your questions, we could do it either way. But he is with Summit Homes Construction, and they will be serving as GC, general contractor on the rental units, and master home builder on the for sale units.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you to the board for allowing us to be on here. We are looking at how to best utilize this money for phase one of the construction to focus on this AMI area of the project. And so we are looking at, we can get all of the deep infrastructure in next year, and then having vertical construction through that winter season, and then pave first bit of that following spring to use up all of those funds. So that's what our high level timeline is for the project for this first phase of infrastructure.
Wonderful. Thank you all for the presentation. And I also have to recuse myself from this one, so I'm saving you from the questions that I had on it. So I will pass it on to the other board members. Are there any questions here? Okay, well, thank you again. We'll go ahead and move on.
Thank you.
Last but not least is USFS Housing, and presenting is Pamela Gibson.
Thank you. I'm pleased to introduce Summit County Commissioner Tamara Pogue, as well as Garrett Sharton with Servitas.
Hello, everyone. My name is Garrett with Servitas. And as Pamela mentioned, Commissioner Pogue is with us today. Also with us on camera is Jason Dietz. He's head of housing in Summit County, and representatives from the United States Forest Service, Adam Bianchi and Anna Bankston. So just really quickly how we got here. There was a 2018 Farm Bill that passed. in Congress that allow the U.S. Forest Service to enter into an innovative partnership with a local municipality, and Summit County stepped up to the plate, and they will be the ground lessee, exercising their local right of first refusal to develop workforce housing on U.S. Forest Service land. A quick update, just on July 21st, the U.S. Forest Service authorized the execution of the ground lease. So that's an exciting update to share. The team is rounded out by Servitas, serving as design, build, finance, operate, and maintain services as a public-private partnership developer. Each of our projects carry some key components. Firstly, the land is always held in an unsubordinated ground lease. We typically have low development fees in the 5 to 8% range. The public partner always receives excess cash flow, and the public partner in this instance being Summit County, they will actually own the project when the debt is paid off. We're going to develop 162 units on 10 acres that overlooks Lake Dillon Reservoir. Candidly, it's an epic site. All 162 units will be deed restricted in perpetuity, and the residency waterfall will target missing middle incomes, with rents starting at 30% of AMI all the way up to 140% of AMI, targeting local workforce and the United States Forest Service workforce in compliance with fair housing. The financing is permanent, so we are removing refi risk on this project. And with the support of CHAFA's Middle Income Access Program and a substantial upfront support and ongoing financial support from Summit County, those sources represent 95% of the capital stack. We're here today to ask for the last $5 million we need to make the project work. And after this vote today, Servitas and our public partners will finish the design, negotiate a GMP contract for construction, close on the financing, and we will be open for lease 23 months later. So with that, well, thank you for your time. And if there's any questions to answer, Commissioner Pogue and I are happy to answer them.
Thank you for that presentation. Any questions from the board? Since this is a proposed net zero development, which is awesome, have you all focused on financing sources for electrification? I know there are some new sources that are available specific to this, and also from a lending perspective, talking to your perm lender and making sure that you're getting the maximum discount. Some agency lenders, for example, do offer a discount for net zero financing.
So we are in talks with a consultant for some PACE lending, Colorado PACE lending, which is similar. They can give some credit to that. And also with our work in Gunnison County on their Whetstone project, we learned about the energy tax credit, the $5,000 per unit. So those are all still on the table and kind of in pursuit.
Great. Glad to hear that.
I just add that Summit County government employs 3 grant writers, and so we also look for every grant opportunity that's available for all of our projects.
Wonderful. So Dawn?
Okay, sorry if I missed this in the write-up. I've been glancing through it to see if I missed it. Is there, since it's a U.S. Forest Service land and project, is there any sort of preference given to U.S. Forest Service employees for the housing, or how does that whole process work?
Yes, the U.S. Forest Service, they currently house employees on the site, and they will house employees after the project is built, and they're included in the residency waterfall.
How many of the units are for Forest Service employees?
They've been prioritized 30 beds.
Okay, thanks.
And I'm digging through this narrative, not finding the detail on the construction and the permanent loan. Here it is. So you're going through, no, I'm not finding it. Can you talk a little bit about the construction and the permanent loan and where you will be?
Yeah, so this will be one single financing using tax-exempt bond financing that we'll take to the public debt markets. And we will borrow additional capitalized interest for the construction period and borrow funds necessary to completely build a project under a GMP contract. So a guaranteed maximum price contract with the general contractor.
Okay, and who's the bond issuer?
I'm sorry, what was that question again?
Who is the bond issuer?
We have not identified an issuer just yet. The bond underwriter is Citigroup.
Okay. And then a question more for staff is we tend to see on deals of this scale, developer fees that are more in the range of 12 to 15% with a portion of that being deferred. And their developer fee is 5% here. And I don't know exactly how much is being deferred, but it doesn't look like we're seeing as much deferred as we typically do. Can you speak to that, Pamela?
Sure. So we took that into account. Their original ask was for $10 million. And through our underwriting, we took it down to $5 million. And that was one of our considerations. They also have a gap on the project, at least at the time I wrote this, that was almost $5 million, $4.7 million. So they'll be looking for ways to fill that as well.
Okay. And you took it down just because it's middle income and just wanted it to be less than what you would see on a tax credit deal?
I'll step in on that as these tags, the requests, as you all know, we received 3 times the request for the resource that we had. So we did our best statewide to balance all the different priority areas from the legislation, as well as the different projects, and try our best to make sure that we could provide financial support to as many projects as possible, given the limitation on sources. So certainly we got more than the $138 million of great projects, and would love to have fully funded them all to, absolutely ensure that they all got done down to the penny. But, we had a tough task and did our best to stretch the dollars and disperse them throughout the state as best as possible, and kind of lean on applicants to get creative and to be able to find ways to close those gaps. And so that's my best to answer your question, Anthea. It was not absolutely formulaic as we would on a gap funding tax credit application. It was more, doing our best to work within the constraints of the sources and the number of projects. And I think to the credit of our rural and rural resort communities, the legislation put a cap on awards of only half of the funds in rural and rural resort communities. And we found that we had the most number of applications from those communities, also representing a lot of great and viable projects. So that kind of further constrained what we're able to award to each.
I'll just add that the Summit County Board of County Commissioners is committed to this project. And so while our prior subsidy to this project, before learning that we wouldn't receive the full 10 million that we asked for, was 25 million, I suspect that we will be the ones to fill that gap. That also said, the U.S. Forest Service has committed an additional 1 million that I'm not sure was reflected on our application. So I suspect we will be able to continue forward with this project despite us receiving less than we'd asked for.
Thanks, Tamara. Okay. Well, thank you for the presentation. We will move on to the voting. And we'll do this in segments. We'll do 2 deals at a time. So if we can start with Jane's Place and USFS, if I can ask for a motion of approval from the board.
So moved. This is Ladon.
This is Monique. I second that.
Thanks, Ladon and Monique. All those in favor?
Aye.
Your hand raised. Any opposed? Anyone recusing themselves? Great. Next up, SP Crossing and Granby Community Housing. I'll be recusing myself. If I can ask for a motion of approval from the board.
So moved, Candace Payne.
I second that. This is Monique.
Thank you, Monique. Thanks, Candace. All those in favor?
Aye.
Was that an aye from you as well, Monique? Well, I guess you second, so
Yes, it was.
great. Thanks. Any opposed? Okay. Well, congratulations to all of the applicants for their approval. Thank you all for your attendance today. And we look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks.
Thank you.
Thanks all.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Cynthia.
Thank you all so much.
Bye.